lines. So there's a couple issues I have with this HUD. The first one is that, in my opinion, a good HUD has all essential information localized in one point. The reason for that is because it makes it significantly easier for players to track information in one location on their screen and pay attention to the main game while keeping everything else in their peripheral. Or periphery, I think is what it is. So when you look at this HUD, right, all the essential information is completely spread out now. So you could argue that the perks have always not really been essential information, barring some perks where they garner you tokens. But this is not really an issue being in the same location that it's in. This being right here is also not an issue. But the fact that the hook states and the generators remaining have been moved across the screen makes it really hard to track stuff as both a killer and a survivor. I'm not a fan of this concept of spreading it all out. In all honesty, I think they could have localized this information down here. And then instead of the traditional way that the player portraits are displayed right now, where it's just like the silhouette of one person, like filled in with white, they could, if they really wanted to stick these portraits in there instead, they could do that in the same location. And then they could also put pips beneath the people's names to determine what their hook state is going to look like. And I don't know if it specifies here. You can kind of see what it looks like when you get injured or go into the dying state. But on the PTB, I don't think there's a picture, so I'm going to try to explain it to you as best I can. There's little notches that determine the hook progress of the survivors. So that way, as a killer or a survivor, you'll know, okay, this person's on death hook or this person's on first hook, so I should expect this, etc., etc. So I think they could have localized all of this information in the same spot. This right here makes it feel like a mobile game to me. I don't like that this is at the top. There's something about this really bothers me. It feels very out of place here. But I'm a fan of them adding the portraits. I think it's cool. And I also like the hook progress, especially because a lot of survivors, when they play with other friends, they can use the same cosmetics, and it becomes very confusing for the killer player to determine who is who and what the hook progress is of each individual survivor. So I like this idea. It's very quality of life. I just wish that they would localize it all in one location. This HUD is awful for colorblind people. Oh. Okay. I wonder why. What about it makes it awful for colorblind people in particular? No, it's only for survivor. Killer has a universal hook counter. Hook counter for killer is how many hooks. Oh. So the killer doesn't know the exact hook progress of everyone, but the survivors do. That's really interesting. I wonder why that is. You would think they would do it quality of life across the board. Killers also see a meter showing their hook progress to give them an idea of how well they're doing. Interesting. Okay. Survivors knowing definitely makes sense. Should have been in the game to begin with. I don't know why the killers, because the killer is receiving the information to begin with. If anything, it just makes it more difficult for the killer player to, like, they have to mentally keep track still. But it's not like it's like hidden information. Like, the killer's the one doing the hooking, right? So the new HUD definitely looks like a mobile game. Yeah, for me, it's really this that makes it look very mobile game-esque. I don't know why. That way survivor can know to take it down for someone instead of letting someone go down because you don't want to get hurt. No, I just think it should be for both people, for both sides. I think it should definitely be in the game. I like the change. I just don't know why that would only be for survivor. Because it's not like the hook progress is like hidden information for the killer. The killer's the one who's actually doing the hooking, right? So, fucking FTP. You give me every time I look over. Yeah, a lot of games in the modern era have colorblind modes, so I would really like to see that. How long have you been streaming? About 30 minutes or so, I think, FTP, but welcome in. It's nice to have you here. So we're going to leave this for now. I think everyone kind of has an idea of what the HUD looks like, so we'll come back to that. You're definitely not that late. We haven't done a lot of gaming. We've just been going over some of the changes. In fact, the HUD was the first thing, and then I was leveling up Pyramid Head. before. So, okay. So, and also, I don't know if I specified, this is what it looks like now when you're in the dying state. There's also a bunch of new animations, which I don't know if we'll get into today, but we'll see. Objective has been moved to the top center of the screen. We know this. We know this. So killers see a new widget which displays how many hooks they've earned during the match out of possible total hooks. Okay. So this is exactly what Darkness was saying. Survivors see a new set above players' names. This lets Survivor players know. Yeah, this is just weird to me. I don't know why they... I would love to see like more reasoning as to why they don't have this symmetrical here. The healthy and injured states have been replaced with each character's portrait. We know that. We saw that before. Actually, you're going to zoom this in a little bit. Hopefully that's a little bit easier for everyone to read. I know we have some mobile people here, so... Have you talked about the new Dead Hard? No, but I'll get to a clip that Darkness linked prior. Okay. Hopefully this is a little bit better for anyone who's on mobile, by the way. And also, thank you very much for that unit. So there is one thing I really like about this update with the UI, and it's that you can actually scale the UI with sliders. So if you like your information being very blown up and large on screen, you can do that. Or if you like it being very small and kind of out of the way and getting the most of the screen, you can do that too. So I think this is something also that players should have had for a long time. So I'm happy to see that this is in the game now. So for everyone who doesn't know as well, a lot of the Survivor animations have been changed. I'm not going to show a video on stream here. There are plenty of videos, as well as the one that I linked in my hashtag DBD general channel, where Otstarva goes over essentially everything in video regarding all of these changes here. So the main thing that you need to know is that animations are getting changed for Survivors, and everything that's in that video may or may not be final because it is on the PTB, so keep that in mind. There are some things that look really good. For instance, like if you pick yourself up with Unbreakable or Adrenaline, there's actually a get up animation. You don't snap up automatically anymore. And there are some things that look a little interesting to me that I would like to see change slightly. Like the base walking animation for a lot of Survivors feels a little weird. So, also Deku, how are you doing? Thanks for tuning in. We're just going over some of the potential PTB changes here. I am a really big fan of the two maps. I don't have anything negative to say. Like I said, I referenced this in Otstarva's video in my Discord. I think the visual design team has done an excellent job with these maps. It's very clear. One thing to know about Gideon Meat Plant is that on the second floor in the middle building, or the second floor inside the building, the middle area is essentially a giant open room now. It's not sectioned off with walls into separate rooms. So that's going to be a buff for killers that need line of sight to work properly. People like Huntress, essentially. But also, it makes it a lot more clear for everyone. I'm not personally a fan of indoor maps. I think that the design is a little lackluster with what we have right now. And I think it makes it very confusing for new players. So I'm happy to see that they did that with Gideon Meat Plant. And also, there's a lot more clarity. Colors are a lot less washed out and dark. So that's good. Asylum also looks very great. You can also kind of tell that it's like actually an asylum and a chapel. So, yeah, I'm a really big fan of the map changes from what I've seen. And this is kind of what I was referencing. Nurse got an outfit buff. And Clown got a model and texture buff. Clown looks really nice too now. So we're getting into the meat and potatoes here of the actual update as far as gameplay is concerned. I'll just let everyone read this real quick. Essentially, you can play Clown the same way that you used to play Clown. And it's a strict buff. Your reload time is reduced from 5 seconds down to 3. So you shave 2 seconds off that, which is great. But now you have a new power, and you can toggle to a different bottle. Pretty much the antidote is the same thing as a tonic, except when you throw it down, there's like a 2 to 3 second delay on the antidote actually working. And then if a killer or survivor walks into that, antidote, they will be sped up. There's a couple of different interactions that you need to know. All that information is going to be right here as well. I have not seen the Dead Hard buff yet, Deku. Also, yes, has stuff outside. Very true. I am as well. So, Otz went over a couple things in the video, and I'm just going to be borrowing from Otz's content. Once again, I really enjoy Otzstarva's content, and I think you should check it out yourself. The video that I'm referencing, once again, is inside my Discord. Pretty much, Otz has played a lot of Clan over the years, and a couple things that he was demonstrating was that whenever you go to break a pallet, because there's a delay on the antidote, you can throw the bottle down at your feet and then break the pallet, and by the time you break the pallet, you get that movement speed buff. So what you can do as Killer, because Clown has this issue where survivors can just drop pellets early against Clown, and then that's it. So you'll see Clowns take like brutal strength often, because it's just too tough for them. Tech. Do you have any mods here? If not, I can time out Tech. So pretty much Clown is going to be a lot better at pallets now, because you can slow survivors down, throw the antidote at your feet, break the pallet. By the time you break the pallet, antidote turns on, then you get the movement speed buff, and the survivor is slowed down. So easier for you to catch up and chase. And I think it's going to be really great. Thank you very much, by the way, for doing that. I don't think Clown is going to be this like, oh my god, A tier, S tier killer now, but I think Clown definitely needed a buff, and I think this is a pretty fair buff to increase Clown's power level. We don't know if all this information is going to be the same moving forward. Also, the increased movement speed buff is called Invigorated. That's something to keep your eyes on if you look at his add-ons. And here it is right now. I think Clown's new bottles look really, really good. They're like clear, and they actually look like glass bottles. When you hold the bottle, you can see the liquid in the bottle sloshing around when you move, which is really nice. I think they've really updated all of the like visual stuff that they've updated with this patch. I think is great. I think they've done a really good job with the art direction in this game, and it looks a lot more modern. So definitely a fan of that. As far as add-ons, I'm not going to get into the add-ons anymore. The one thing that you're going to need to know is that iridescent add-ons have been changed, and there are no more exhaustion bottles. So keep that in mind. The reason I don't want to go over it is because a lot of this stuff is very tentative to change. So I'll just let everyone read that at their own pace. But yeah, good. Clown buff, good. Well deserved. Trapper, escaping from a bear trap now has a 16.6% chance of succeeding on each attempt, but are capped at a maximum of 6 attempts. Also, add-ons that reduce the chance of escape increase the maximum number of attempts, as well as reducing the chance per attempt. I think this is a much needed buff. In my opinion, I think Trapper's kit is very antiquated. I think Trapper needs to have the common bag by default and be able to carry 2 traps at one time. By doing so, it really unlocks a lot of things that Trapper can do. You can essentially, I'll get to streamers in a sec. With Trapper, with a bag, you can essentially place traps down and always carry 1 trap on you to deny loops, which is really important for Trapper's playstyle. Otherwise, you're just going to be playing man with machete for the majority of the time. I think this buff is well deserved. I haven't played a lot of Trapper. I've probably played around 20 games of Trapper, I would say. And even myself, with that low amount of experience, you can very clearly tell how frustrating it is for survivors to escape a trap on their first attempt. So I think the Trapper definitely needs some help. I don't think this is enough help. I think Trapper needs more help. But I think Trapper players are going to be excited for this change. Confetti add-on? I know, FTP. We'll take a look at that add-on real quick. Swaps yellow and purple color antidote effects. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Bait survivors. Confuse everyone. That's a very Clown thing. Wraith. Okay. While cloaked, the Wraith is completely invisible. No shimmer to survivors when standing more than 24 meters away. I think this is a good change. Not much to say. I mean, it is a buff. This is currently bugged, though. So we're not going to see exactly what that looks like. Welcome back, Deku, by the way. As the Wraith gets closer, the shimmer increases from 0% at 24 to 100% at 16. So, yeah, I mean, this is just objectively a buff. I think it's I think it's good. Once again, though, I don't think it's amazing. I think Wraith needs more help than this, but people who like Wraith as a pet pick, this will definitely help out with that. All right, so now we're getting into the very controversial. I actually don't know who that PogChamp is. Now we're getting to the very controversial part of this for a lot of different people, and this is going to be the perk changes. So with Hex Undying, I'm pretty sure for the most part everyone knows what Hex Undying did before. I agree, Darkness. So while Hex Undying is active, survivors within 4 meters of any Dull Totem have their aura revealed. So it's only Dull Totems now, not all totems, which is important because the main reason you would go about using this perk was to defend your Hex Totems and then also get the benefit of primarily Ruin, up to 4 times per trial. So when another Hex Totem is cleansed, the totem's Hex transfers to the Hex Undying totem, deactivating Hex Undying. Any tokens the transferred Hex had are transferred as well. So the question is, do I think this buff is deserved? Or this nerf is deserved, rather. I think they nerfed it too much. The interesting thing, though, now is that you can run perks like Devour Hope or Huntress's Lullaby and have some very cute interactions. The problem is that they haven't touched any of the really important things that I think they needed to touch from the Survivor side. If killers wanted to even have any semblance of having a good trial against really good, we're talking like rank 1 Swift players who have thousands of hours or are practicing for tournaments who have a very strong understanding of the game, Ruin Undying was pretty much the only thing you could do. For the average player, Ruin Undying was pretty oppressive, especially if you're new to the game and you don't know like traditionally where totems spawn in certain tile sets. It can feel like the killer is just getting completely carried by the perk. But now I think it went too far. I think as a killer, you're going to be more pushed towards running other types of gen regression perks that are a lot more consistent, because the payoff is not really there anymore, in my opinion, for combining this with Ruin. So things like Corrupt Intervention, Pop, Thrilling, Surge, other types of game slowdown like Sloppy Butcher are probably going to be more attractive to the majority of killers now in this circumstance. I'm very happy to hear that, Deku. That's a really big milestone. I hope they don't change it with the new animations, by the way. I haven't looked into that with like moonwalking. I would have liked to have seen at least like one additional totem from Hex Undying to kind of like put it in the middle of what it used to be. Now, like I said, it just feels too weak to combine with Ruin. I'm confused about the Hex Undying changes. I haven't unlocked it on killers, and I knew is that it would reveal auras and basically protect your Ruin and any other Hex perk. Yeah, so what we can do is this. How about this, huh? We'll go here. And then we will just look at the perks. So this is current. This is live. Right here. This is live servers, currently. Right now. So pretty much TLDR is that, let's say you have Ruin and you have Undying. Alright? If the survivors, unfortunately, cleanse Hex Ruin first, then as long as Hex Undying is up, Hex Ruin will transfer immediately again to another Dull Totem. And this process can repeat until there are no available Dull Totems. So if you high roll as a killer, you can get 4 Hex Ruin totems in one trial, which can feel very oppressive if you're playing a solo queue survivor. On the inverse, if the survivor is 50-50 and cleanse Undying first, it means that you lose the benefits of the aura reading from Undying, as well as Hex Ruin not transferring to another Dull Totem if Hex Ruin is cleansed. So, at minimum, the survivors have to cleanse 2 Hex Totems every trial. But what happens most of the time is that if you know that someone's playing Ruin, the majority of the time now is that they're going to be running Undying in addition to that. So survivors are very incentivized to cleanse Dole Totems when they see them, whenever it's convenient for them. So on the average trial, you're going to be cleansing like more than 3 totems on the map against Ruin Undying. So I think that it was a very, very strong perk. But if you're going to nerf this perk, I think we need to see more nerfs on the survivor side to justify this perk being nerfed. If anything, to me, with like the way that I've played in solo queue, this perk is just like annoying. I've never really thought that it was very overpowered, but the majority of the community tends to think that it is. So I think that nerfing it was okay. I just wanted to see more on the other side, but I also think that they took it a little too far. So that's my opinion on that. Fixated. I like Fixated. I don't think Fixated is particularly a good perk, but I think that it's interesting for everyone who doesn't know. I'll pull it up on screen once again. Combines very well with things like Sprint Burst, because you can walk faster, which means you're not incentivized to sprint, which means you build up your exhaustion more and then you can save your sprint burst. I don't know why it didn't work while you were uninjured before. It should have always been that way in my opinion. So I'm glad to see that that's getting changed. Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden is a perk that's traditionally taken on Huntress. That's a Legion teachable. And you are only really using this to get hatchets more efficiently, but this is what they're changing. So instead of 15 seconds, it's going to 30 seconds. I mean, it's a buff. I don't think other people are really incentivized to take this perk, given our current meta. So Second Wind being 20 seconds at max rank is actually really interesting. I'm a fan of Second Wind. It's one of my more favorite pet perks, I would say. It's a little complicated, so pretty much this perk activates when you heal another survivor 1 health state. So let's say you unhook someone and then you heal them from injured to healthy. Second Wind activates. While it's activated, the next time you are unhooked or unhook yourself, you get affected by the broken status effect. Before it was 30 seconds, but now it's 20 seconds, and it automatically heals you from the broken to healthy state. So it was like a way to kind of gain a health state without needing help from other people. So a lot of people compare it to like Inner Strength. I personally like this perk more than Inner Strength in a meta where we don't need to consistently cleanse totems every game. The reason Inner Strength was really good recently is because there was such a huge incentive to cleanse totems because so many people were running Ruin Undying. So, like, why not get a benefit while you're doing it, you know? But I'm glad to see that change. Pebble. Diversion. I think everyone kind of knows what Diversion does. You throw a pebble. You know, I'll just go over it. I think it's best if we just go through all of them. It's a little confusing with the text. Standing within the killer's terror radius will not unchase for 45 seconds. Activates it. And then once it's activated, you can press the pebble ability while crouching and motionless to throw a pebble, which creates a distraction. And pretty much a distraction is the noise notification and scratch marks. So the problem with this perk before was that it just took too long to activate for what it was. But now it's going from 40 to 30 seconds, which I think is very good. I'm glad to... I'm glad that that's the case, honestly. Because these perks are not by any means meta perks. So I'd really love to see them buff perks that are not commonly taken by the majority of survivors. So I like that. Deep Wound now always has a 20-second timer. Frank's Mixtape and Stab Wound Study adjusted to have the same proportional effect. Okay, that's fine. That's just Legion add-ons. Borrowed Time, tier adjustments are now the duration of the endurance status effect. This is not really that impactful outside of corner case scenarios. This is not really like a huge nerf to Borrowed Time. Borrowed Time is still the most popular survivor perk in the game, and I suspect that it will stay that way. So this isn't really the problem with Borrowed Time, I would say. I've never seen Pebble work. Yeah, it's kind of... It's an interesting perk. It's fun. I understand. Now, of course, yeah. Hotline, how are you doing? Hey, what's new? We're just going over some of the new PTB changes for Dead by Daylight. Alright, so Mangled status effect always lasts until fully healed. That's fine. Vigil no longer affects Mangled. I guess that makes sense given this context, but it's not like Vigil needed a nerf. Begrimed Head removed. Repair speed debuff. I think that's good. I think this add-on was just very weird. I didn't like what it did to begin with. Pebbo, exactly. I'm good. Dog has finally stopped licking my face. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Also applies Mangle to injured survivors. Interesting. Prevent Victor from hiding under hooked survivors, which would make others feel... That's disgusting. I didn't even know that was a thing. I played against the twins probably less than 10 times. So I didn't even know this was a thing, but I'm glad they're changing that. That makes sense. I'm just going to go through these bugs. I mean, I don't know if we really care about these bugs too much, chat, because they'll most likely be fixed. So, yeah, let's go over here and see if there's anything else we missed. Oh, there's a video here. Sample video. Perfect. I didn't know this was here. So this is an example of some of the animation changes. My apologies. I can actually 720 this and full screen it, and then that should be more clear for y'all. So core gameplay is still the same. I think they just intended this as a quality of life change. The walking animation on some survivors, like you're going to see right now with Yui, looks weird to me on some survivors. So we'll see if they address that. Like this just kind of... It's weird to me. Injured one is like okay. The sprint one is also like okay. I'm fine with that. I'd like the crouching one. That makes a little bit more sense. You can still crouch spam too, which is nice. I like the dying state ones too. And I like how the camera is lowered when you're in the dying state as well. And that's how you get up now. You kneel up when you use Unbreakable or Adrenaline. Which is cool. I think there needed to be an animation to begin with. I don't know why there wasn't. So this is see how the perspective is lowered. Oh, don't look at those. It's my recommended videos, I guess. I don't know. But, yeah. I'm good going to leave and leave the stream open. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. And be safe out there. Good thing. He does it when he wants attention or if he likes you. Nodders. I'm always glad to hear that. How's your day otherwise? Pretty good, honestly. Not much has happened so far. I really just drank some water, drank some G Fuel. I was taking care of my lizard a bit, cleaned up my room a little bit, and then I was just kind of setting up some stuff for the stream. I got some new stinger animations. Check this out. That's cool. I like purple and pink, so I'm glad to see that. Actually, while we're here, we might as well just do stream readers, huh? Damn! Okay. We got some people grinding here. Fox, Lechuga, Bone Zone, Aladar, Lucius Maximus, FTP, and Snortney. Hey, thank you so much for helping out with this. This is a loyalty fight, so... Yeah, I'm a little... I haven't made my mind up exactly, Deku, on what my thoughts are on the animations, especially since they're going to be changed. So, also... Ooh, high roll. What is this skin? I think we're just gonna power through and go to the boss now. But yeah, thanks for helping out with this, everyone. Seriously, I needed to put a tank down. I think as part of my like daily or something. G Fuel, yeah. I'm a fan of G Fuel. Like I said, I used to drink a lot of just like coffee by itself, and I don't know, it just gets old really quick. I don't have an espresso machine. If I had an espresso machine, I would probably be in a lot better shape. But I was drinking sugar-free monsters for a while, and they kind of just, I don't know, they wore on me. I'm not really a fan. That's the wrong. I didn't mean to click that, chat. Please. Hello? Oh, yeah. Okay. So, this is also something very interesting. Oh my god, rank reset, didn't it? Fuck. I'm rank 5 again. So, TLDR with this is that when you end the season, you get a certain amount of blood points based off of what your rank was, which is good. I think they should have had these to begin with, honestly. I think people like their, like having their, rewards for doing well in a season, which is nice. But here's the kicker, is that you actually get reset to rank 20 every season. Now this, for myself and other individuals, is going to be a problem. Because I don't play enough in 1 month to climb that high on both sides. So I'm not a fan of this. I also think it's going to be a problem for skill level as well. And like matching people that are of the same skill, because there's probably going to be a lot of people who just don't have the time to invest into a season and want to hop on, but they have a lot of experience, so they're in gray, yellow, or green ranks towards the end of the season, and they're just stuck with it. You know what I mean? So that is going to be something difficult. I mean, I think this should have been iridescent shards. That's my personal opinion, instead of blood points. So also, so does the animation from getting up when in dying state affect time? Because without the animation, you just pop right up. It looks like it takes a second. That's a good question. I don't know if you can sprint cancel it, FTP. I haven't seen that. So it is a lot of grinding. Yeah, rank 20 is going to be pretty tough. I was rank 4 and right down to rank 9. Deku, I would probably say that unfortunately it's exactly what Darkness said. You might have de-pipped on your last game and then not really noticed, unfortunately. And that caused you to go into purple ranks, and then because you're in purple ranks, you got reset to green ranks. Every 13th rank goes down. Yeah. So there's no more monthly reset. No. There is, I believe, on the same day, the 13th, except I don't think they really specified that. It's just instead of getting reset to the lower like bracket, you get reset all the way to rank 20. So yeah. And let me see what else we have here. Wraith, Trapper, Deep Wounds, Diversion, Fixated, Hex Undying. Open-handed is an interesting buff too. It's getting 16 more meters, so Kindred is going to have an effective range of like 32 meters, which is usually what this perk is paired with. That and or Bond, so that's interesting. Don't think the perk is, obviously meta, but I'm really happy to see that they're buffing perks that need a lot of help. So that's good, in my opinion. And I'm actually just going to be right back. What is everyone's thoughts? Let me know how you feel overall. Are you happy with these changes? Are you not happy with these changes? Do you think one thing is really good, one thing is really bad? But yeah, go ahead and let me know, and I'm just going to run to the bathroom real quick. And we'll discuss a little bit more, and then we'll get into some games. So, thank you, everyone. And I'll be right back.